Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Today is June the 17th, 2026. This video is going to be a touchy video. I want to let the world know why I gave my life to Christ. And I want to kind of give you a background of my upbringing and what took place with me. And this is the reason why I titled my video, I was never accepted in my family because my father's domestic and violent abuse towards my mother. I want to show the world how false words defame of character, which is called defamation of character, can damage your character and reputation and cause harm the rest of your life. I was an innocent child, branded to grow up and be like him. I remember my mother always telling me as I was growing up, you're gonna be just like your father. And I never understood that. Times when I was growing up, you look just like your father. And all this time I'm thinking that me and my middle brother, I am the youngest of 3 boys, had the same father. Keep this in mind. All my life I thought we had the same father, but I did notice, and I could not put the puzzle together, that my middle brother was always standoffish towards my father. And it seems like he was told as a child, but they hid it from me. So later on, as I was growing up, my father finally revealed to me that's not his son. But mind you, this is what I went through before he told me this here. And as I was growing up, I have found out as time went by that my father was hated, extremely hated by everyone on my mother's side. I had to put the puzzle together because my father was like throwing daggers out there as I was growing up. He would say things like, hey, do you know so-and-so? Come to find out, I got the puzzle together. He was asking me, did I know this man? But I was in my teens and early 20s. And come to find out later on in life, he was asking me, did I know my middle brother's father? But he just said by name. I said, no, I've heard of these people by the last name, but I don't know that man that you call his first name. Oh, and my father would look at me. So as time goes by, my father was hated. I read it. He was hated. And then my father would ask me, hey, you know your mother got raped? And he would look at me. I said, no, she never told us she got raped. Oh, okay. But I found out my father was picking me. To this day, I'm trying to fast forward, people. I don't want to lose you. As a kid, when I was growing up, I think I was probably in the 2nd grade or the 3rd grade when my father and my mother was, I think, living together. I don't think he ever married my mother, but I woke up out my sleep and I saw my mother in the bedroom and I saw my father storm out, and she was bleeding by the nose and it was blood with the sheets and the blankets was off the bed. And she was in the bed crying, sitting on the side of the bed crying. So that stuck with me all my childhood years. So as I didn't get to know my father like I wanted to. As I grew up, I can tell that he had like a real extreme mean streak about him. All right, so follow me, people. First, let me give you this. I want to give it to you in order. I was an innocent child branded to grow up and be like him. That's what my mother them used to always say. They gaslit me. The gaslighting all my life made me to be poisonous to the whole family tree on both sides. My mother branded me by telling the family I am crazy. Follow me. I took that gaslighting up to probably maybe, I'm going to say going on 3 years ago. I cut them all loose. My mother's deceased and my older brother's deceased. But I took this abuse and I had noticed that every time we went on family reunions, we got family up north, way, way, way up north. And we used to go to family reunions and everybody used to come up to me and say, your mother say you crazy. I said, what? Well, yeah, she going around telling people you crazy. What school you go to? Are you in a regular school and all that? I said, man, ain't nothing wrong with me. So I said, Mama, why you always telling people I'm crazy? Ah, boy, don't worry about that. So she had the whole family looking at me, trying to distinguish something about me as if I'm crazy. So I noticed that every time, not only when we would go upstate to family reunions, her closest brother used to gaslight me all the time. But come to find out, and I'm going to get to it in a minute, that my mother brothers could not stand my father. And as I grew up, my father used to tell me, hey, man, I almost shot your mother's brother. They couldn't stand me, but I found out my father's a liar. He would never tell me why would they want to jump on him. He just told me, some stories that the puzzle didn't go together. Okay? So let me give you people this here. My mother was known to sleep around, partying a lot, fighting females, shooting at neighbors. I remember my mother, we moved into this house, and when we moved into this house, there was this lady across the street, and this lady saw my mother get out the car, and my mother was a single mother, me and my two brothers, and this lady said, "You whore," and we were small. I said, "Mama, who is that lady?" And my mother would ignore, and then it just kept building up where this lady would slander my mother, and this lady went inside and got a shotgun, was shooting over towards our house. And my mother went and got her gun, and they were shooting back and forth. Keep that in mind. But I'm crazy. My father even told me, I said, why did you and my mother break up? Your mother used to shoot at me. Your mother was going to get me killed. Keep that in mind. My father was known to sleep around, partying a lot, violent towards my mother. I believe to this day, he's the one that raped her. I believe because my mother was sleeping around that she didn't want to have nothing to do with him. I think he forced himself to have sex with her. That's why she was extremely hateful towards him. She could not stand him no more. Follow me. If I'm his son and she knows it, I'm coming up as a little kid. I'm his seed. So she resented him, so she took it out on me that I'm his son. So he told me he used to ask her, why don't you give me D? No, hell no. I believe she didn't let me go with him because she knew that he was going to fill me in on what took place, probably hide some stuff, but brainwash me and make me go against her. So they were playing tug of war. He kept his lie hidden, his transgressions. She kept her lie hidden, transgressions. So I'm in between two parents that cannot stand each other and had to pick up on it later on in life that my mother's side of the family could not stand my father. So they treated me with contempt because they knew I was his son. Follow me. Okay. My father known to sleep around, party a lot, violent towards my mother. I believe he raped her. He shot his new wife, ex. Yeah. He come to tell me that he was out at the nightclub, and the lady that he married after he left my mother, she had a daughter that he raised, wasn't his daughter, but the father saw my father somewhere, and they had words. And my father pulled his gun out, and the guy started running. My father shot him in the butt. He didn't delete him, but he shot him in the butt. So as I was growing up, I started finding out my father was ruthless. A lot of people, a lot of men out there was afraid of him. So let me go down the list. My mother's oldest sister. Now, keep this in mind. They're gaslighting me all my life, people. All my life. Keep this in mind. I took it. I was treated with biasness. I was treated with contempt. I was treated like the black sheep. I was treated as if I don't belong in this family. And I'm not exaggerating. They treated me like I did not belong in this family. And as much as I wanted to get to know my father, he pawned me off. He used to lie, tell me he gonna come pick me up, wouldn't come pick me up, and would be frustrated and complaining when I would call him because I wanted to get to know him. Every time I would ask him for money, why you always broke, boy? Would slander me, degrade me. So he used to ask me questions like, how come your brother act like he don't like me? And he would look at me. And all along he knew, because he wanted to see what did they tell me. My mother never told me. My brother never told me. But I saw the treat my father with a long handled spoon. So I believe growing up, because I used to walk in a room when we was growing up with just my mother, that she used to have meetings with my middle brother and my older brother. And when I would walk in the room, my mother would say, what is it? What is it, D? I said, Mama, I'm just coming in here to see what, sit with y'all, look like y'all looking at TV. Go in the room, we talking. So they were talking all the time and always kept me in the dark. I believe my mother told them the story about my father. That's why my brothers jumped on me as growing up. Both of them have whooped me good. I remember when my mother, on my high school skip out, my mother told me I could use her car because my car had got repoed. I remember I woke up the next day to get dressed and my mother said, where are you going? I said, Mom, you told me I could use your car to go to senior skip out. You ain't going nowhere. You're going to help me and your brother get in the backyard and clean out their storage unit. And I said, what? So my mother told me to get out there while I still had on my nice clothes and pushed me out in the backyard and started hitting me with a board with a nail in it. And my brother, middle brother, said, if you hit my mama, you better not hit my mama. I said, your mama? This is our mama. You ought to be saying, Mama, don't hit him with that board. My brother stood there with his fist balled and said, you better not hit my mama. And that stuck with me, people. That stuck with me. It traumatized me. And I used to lay in my bed. What do he mean by my mama? Okay. Not only that, when me and my older brother, as we grew up, I'm just kind of fast forwarding, and I'm going to give you some other things that I wrote in my notes, people, because this made me lose sleep and I'm trying to help somebody. You better pay attention to your family tree. You better dig deep. You can be traumatized and don't know it. Here's my point. Have you seen videos to where they tell you that a known family member went and deleted the whole family? But they don't never give you details. Like what? Deleted the whole family. I can resonate with it. That's why I gave my life to Christ. Because this kind of stuff will ball on you and make you want to go delete the whole family, because I'm getting ready to show you some things that started surfacing, that I started seeing about my family tree. And I used to sit at home before I got on my own. I used to be on my job. I used to be with other women. And they used to look at this look on here. You okay? I said, yeah, I just got some stuff on my mind. You sure you're okay? You don't want to talk to me about it? No, I don't want to talk to you about it. But as time went by, I started seeing some things that were surfacing that I could see with my family. You gaslight me every time we around family members. I mean, embarrassing me. My mother would just bring up some stuff that try to make me look like I'm stupid. Bring up some stuff and say I'm crazy in front of the whole family. When we would have family reunions, family gatherings, family parties, go on picnics, I was always the spotlight. You know what D did? You know what D did? He's stupid. He is so crazy. And I'm looking at my mother and they all, what? You better start listening to your mother, boy. And it would be stuff that my mother would be making up. And I know she would be making it up. And I was like, what's wrong with my mother? But when you love your mother, you're confused and you don't know how to handle this. You don't want to disrespect your mother, but this is something that's traumatizing to you. It's confusing you. So my mother, after I started seeing this here, I had noticed, I said, when we went to family reunion, my mother, oldest sister, slept with her oldest son, had a retarded son together. And my mother didn't tell us this here until later on, but when you look at the behaviors, I look back and say, how my mother got everybody looking down on me and everybody looking at me as being poisonous. Your mother said you crazy. And I had noticed that the cousins and some of the other aunties and uncles didn't want to have nothing to do with me, didn't want to talk to me. I would try to have conversation with them. They would cut me off like, well, I don't want to talk to you. Your mother said you crazy. But I would see them embrace my mother's sister, knowing that she slept with her oldest son and had a child by him and he's retarded. I seen the family embrace her like she ain't did nothing wrong. So when my mother told me later on, I said, what? All these times I done seen y'all go over here upstate and party with your sister and nobody slander her. Girl, why you sleeping with your son? Girl, why y'all had a retarded child? Ain't nobody saying nothing. And my mother just making up stuff on me. So that came to light. Here's the other kicker. The same aunt, this is my mother's oldest sister, her youngest daughter came down to stay with us for a summer. Her daughter was beautiful. That's supposed to be my first cousin. My mother walked in the room because my older brother was in the military. He had came home for leave. And my mother said she walked in the room and caught them having sex. But she didn't call him crazy. She didn't call her sister's daughter crazy. Y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. And she told me and my other brother, I caught your brother in there sleeping with his cousin. And that was it. But every time we went somewhere, I'm crazy. D is crazy. D is this. I always would try to tell him something I did in school, something I messed up around the house. I'm wearing socks over and over. They would always slander me. So this is what's traumatizing me. You seeing them embrace. You seeing them embrace her older sister. You seeing them embrace the cousin. Now watch this one. Now I'm seeing all this, people. As people have, what is it called? Defamation of character me. You can sue people for that. It has messed me up for life, people. The whole family don't want to have nothing to do with me. Defamation of character can damage your character and reputation and cause harm the rest of your life. So then I find out my mother's closest brother have a younger daughter, my age, as I'm speaking today. Okay? Her 30-year-old son today is living out on the streets and he done lost his mind. But nobody looks at her and say, what you do? What did you do to your son? Why your son crazy? Out there talking crazy, living out on the streets like a homeless person. And her daddy, my mother brother, supposed to be a Christian man. And they gonna tell me that he got hooked up with some girl and she put something in his weed. Well, what is he doing smoking weed? Here's my point. But they treat my uncle's youngest daughter like she is a queen. When they have gatherings, she's married to a man now, ex-military, and everybody go over there and treat her while this guy's out here, and they go take him food. The whole family go take him food, and nobody's degrading her. Say, girl, why your son crazy? And he's really crazy. I've stopped to talk to him. My wife today is a witness. I went and saw him one time. He was standing at the end of an alleyway. I said, hey, what's going on, man? Oh, what's up, cuz? Yeah, I was just over there in that building over there. I said, what building? He was pointing inside the alley. I said, what building? I was over there on the 5th floor. Yeah. So what y'all been up to, man? He remembered my name and everything, but told me he was in the 5th floor on a building and wasn't no building in sight. But they called me crazy. Here's another thing that comes to my attention. When my mother was living, the uncle that I'm talking about that has this daughter, him and my mother got the same father, and they are close. And my mother used to always tell us, I love my brother, but he is so henpecked stupid, I can't stand his wife, which is my cousin's mother. Said that he took her. My mother knew this man that her brother wife was sleeping with, and took him to a motel where my mother knew where they were sleeping together with. And my mother said, my brother, she said, do y'all know y'all uncle, my brother, was out there crying? And I told him I would pay for his divorce. I had the money. My mother paid 2-3 divorces for my uncle, and he declined them. And saw it with his own eyes that his wife was in a motel with another man. And got the audacity to call me crazy when I come around. To this day, he's still living and they still married. Here's another thing that gets under my skin. My father has a sister. What I'm saying to you people, these people embrace each other. They got some real noticeable flaws, and don't nobody say, you crazy, but they call me crazy. I went on how does a crazy man go buy a house on his own, this very house? Ain't no woman name on this house. I bought this house on my own. How is it that I'm a crazy man and stayed on I'm telling you, a job that I guarantee you, black people will walk off for 30 years. And they don't see my success. To this day, they still think something's wrong with me. So, my father, when I would go around his side of the family, and I would see the disrespect that he would cause me face to face and slander me, he would take me over to his sister's house with my aunt. I didn't know them very well. Just want to let you people know. I got close to one of the aunt that I'm talking about, my father's sister child, one of her oldest sons. Me and him, we were close. So, you know, I seen some things about him. He was lazy and didn't want to work. But she got 2 boys right now, which is my cousins. The oldest one has never kept a job, never have had his own place. To this day, he still stand with his mother. His little brother, he's grown. Look like to me, he comes off to be gay. But I don't say nothing. And my father don't say nothing. He go over there, hey, what's going on? And hey, and speak to the boys. And he know. And I asked him, I said, is her youngest son gay? Yeah. And get off the subject. That balls me. Well, why you ain't saying they crazy? My mother's brother, the one I told you that she's close to, his middle daughter, from this day, I know she got some gay sons. But don't nobody say nothing. They always gaslight me. She comes around, the boys come around like, hey, what's going on, Grandpa? And then, hey, what's going on, boy? I ain't seen you in a long time. My brother, my middle brother, is still living today. Listen to me, people. Before I tell you this about my middle brother, watch this. This what will make you want to go get an AR-15. All the stuff I'm telling you, I'm not condoning no violence, but that's why you got to come out from among them. I'm going to read it in a minute. Here's another thing that gets under my skin when I sit. I'm telling you people, my wife got up at 2 o'clock this morning. We were talking about it, and she started hurting my eyes. And she said, baby, I'm so sorry. Because my wife is the only one I can talk to about this. It's been going on 3 years that I've been healing. Me and my oldest daughter was always close. She's in her late 30s now. But the reason why we started going distance because it was a time when we was on the phone. She said, Dad, can I ask you something? Because she lives out of state. She moved when she was 19 years old, she moved out of state. And so we would talk on the phone a lot. And I had paid for her to visit. When I first bought my home, she came and visited me. We were close. And she never told me this until she went back. And we was on the phone. She said, Dad, can I tell you something without you getting mad? I said, yeah. You sure you won't go back and say nothing? I said, no, what's going on? Well, my middle brother has a daughter about the same age as my daughter. I think she's older. And they would contact each other on Facebook, things of that nature. So my brother's older daughter had told her, are you going to where your uncle is and dad live? Because they're going to be throwing a family reunion on 4th of July. And my daughter said, Dad, I was telling her, oh, I don't know if I want to go. I have to see. I got to see how my money is. And my daughter told me, well, your niece, your brother's oldest daughter said, hey, are you worried about your dad being there? She said, no, me and my dad, we talk. Oh, because don't worry, he's not coming. They haven't invited him because he's crazy. She said, Dad, why do he keep saying you crazy? So she had that in her mind that when I would talk to her different times, I would try to correct her on how she's dressing. I told her don't be dressing provocative. And she started, I can see the rebelliousness started kicking in. And she lashed out one time and said, you know what, Dad? They right. You are crazy. Bye. Click. And I tried and tried. I would text her and try to tell her, hey, what happened? Me and you were close until you told me what my niece told you. And she don't want to have nothing to do with me. My father and I had a strong disagreement. He told me the same thing. I said, Dad, listen to me. I'm trying to explain something to you that you're wrong what you just said, blah, blah, blah. He said, what makes you think you know it all? You know what? They were right. You are crazy. Click. So when I see the middle brother today, and I'm going to give you some history about him, and I hope I didn't skip it. He's married to a young lady that used to be married to our best friend. Keep that in mind. All right? But here's the kicker. He married this young lady knowing that she was still married to our best friend. I'm getting ready to give you a rundown, but I just want to point out something. And he knows that her mother is a woman lover, meaning that she, had kids by this man, but after that, she was always dating this one lady that they stayed together. And my brother know that. And you don't have a problem with that? Your wife's mother, your mother-in-law, is a lesbian. Just to give you a little history on something right here so you can know what's my roots. On my father's side, he had both parents. And both parents, which is my grandmother and grandfather, and they all have the same mother and father, which is 4 women and 2 boys. My father lost his youngest brother at an early age. On my mother's side, my grandmother, she had 3 men, 3 boys, and 4 women. My mother and this other, my mother and one of the boys, my uncle, they have the same father. And the other 5 all have different fathers. Now, I want you to listen to this here corrupt triangle. And then I'm going to give you people scripture. And I'm going to let you go. I want to show you this can corrupt you. If you don't dig deep and look at that it's not decent and in order, you will stay into this here corrupt triangle and it'll mess you up, because I'm dealing with a generation curse. My mother is the one that planted that poison seed. To this day, before my brother passed away, the oldest one, they both would go, anytime my older brother would meet a new female, he would tell her, oh yeah, that's my younger brother, he crazy. And the women would be looking at me like, man, your younger brother look more decent than you and your other brother. And they didn't like that, because they would be admiring me because the way I dress and the way I carry myself. The women would be confused. What? Crazy? Man, this guy got some swag. He got some nice clothes on, the way he carries himself. And why don't you get your teeth fixed? That's what the women would be looking at me like, you don't belong to this family. So my brothers picked up on that. So that's why they started manifesting jealousy towards me. Because if they were slandering me with new women or around new friends, the friends would be looking at it just like my middle brother works with a guy that he works with at the post office. And when him and his wife come to my house, they said, honey, me and my wife heard his wife say, honey, what are we doing wrong? Man, this guy's living good. And look how he talked, you know. And my brother picked up on it. He didn't want his best friend, which he called him his best friend, to see me outlive him. Here's the corrupt triangle today. My father told me out his mouth 3 years ago, your brother is not my son. I said, why will you tell me this here? Well, man, I didn't want to tell you why your older brother was living, because I tried to protect you. But he is not my son. His daddy name is blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, that's the name you asked me years ago. Yes, them people are all over this city. I'm telling you, your mama used to mess with this man. He was considered like a street pimp. I mean, he got babies all over the city that we live in. But he's deceased. And he was like 13 years older than my mother. My father gave me the rundown. But why is it today my father and my middle brother that's not supposed to be his son are ace coon boom? I'm talking tight. And he would call me and complain, you know, I asked your brother to do something for me. And he always charged me. I said, well, you bring it on yourself. But this is before he told me it wasn't his son. But to this day, since he told me that's not his son, from what I know, my brother still dogs him out. And he puts up with it. Here's another triangle I want to show you people, the curse. Me and my brother grew up with this best friend, this African-American guy. We all grew up together. I think we all started getting closer in junior high school. And so we was like always growing up in the neighborhood, riding bikes together. Okay, so that's why I say I had a best friend. And he dated my uncle's, this best friend, my mother's closest brother, he dated my uncle's middle daughter. She's the same age as my middle brother. Okay, so the best friend have one child by her. Okay, they had a daughter together. Now watch this. My best friend found out later on, when he was dating my uncle's daughter, that his father is his uncle. we always kind of knew something was weird about him. We would always catch him dazing, like just staring and kind of slow, but we just didn't pick up on it. But we just knew that it was something different about him to where he was always in a mope mode. Like we would all be having a good time, telling jokes and laughing. He'd be sitting over there like this here. Man, you all right? Oh, yeah. You sure you all right? Oh, yeah. Follow me, people. When he found out that his mother and brother had him, this dude was out here turning it up. We had kind of lost contact. And supposedly he did something and went to prison. I'm sorry, he went to like local jail. And I had got a phone call one time in my lifespan. And it was from a hospital. And I said, well, who is this calling me from a hospital? So I answered the phone. He said, hey, man, what's going on, man? I said, what's going on, man? I ain't heard from you, man. It's been a while. How you been? I was happy to hear from him. He told me he was in the hospital, that when he went to jail, he got raped. I said, well, why you in the hospital? Oh, man, I'm getting stitches, man. I said, oh, man, you got to get stitches back there. Yeah, man, I fought, man. If you come to the hospital, I'm bruised up, man. I said, what? He said, yeah, it was 4 of them, man. They held me down. So that messed him up. So he found out that his uncle is his father. So he ends up going into the military. Because this was when we was kind of, in our late teens, early 20s. So he gets signed up and goes into the Marines. And it was a young lady that we grew up with in our neighborhood. He ends up dating her. He knocks her up. And they go off together after he finished basic training. And they have a child together. And she ends up playing on him while he's doing his military tour. And he sends her back to our local town. Follow me, people. I want to show you the messed up tree. So I didn't live with my mother at the time, but this young lady's parents still lived in the back of us, like on the next street. And we all grew up together. We was going to high school. So I goes to my mother's house. Now we all grown and stuff. He's still in the military. So I goes to my mother's house and pops up. And this young lady that he's married to is at my mother's house. So I'm like, wow. I said, hey, what's going on? Didn't know anything about him and her. Was getting into it. I found out later. So I told my mother, hey, I'm getting ready to leave. So the young lady that he was married to, she said, where you going? And I said, oh, I'm just finna leave and go, probably ride around a little bit. She said, I want to go with you. So I said, no. She said, can you drop me off at my sister's apartment? I said, yeah, I'll drop you off. So as we get in the vehicle, my vehicle, I'm dating here and there. I don't really have a solid girlfriend. So she said, I don't want to go to my sister's apartment. I want to get with you. She initiated to want to sleep with me. Long story short, I declined it. Because I said, my best friend ain't did nothing to me and he's still married to her. And she kept offering me, and we chilled out, smoked a joint together back in the day, and I ended up taking her home. Fast forward, I come home to my mother's house again, and a homeboy that lived down the street, I saw my brother's car parked in his driveway. And he whistled at me, come here. I said, what's up, man? I said, where you got my brother's car? Oh, man, your brother's with so-and-so. I said, what? The same young lady that's married to our best friend. He said, I dropped your brother off over there, man, because supposedly, man, she met some guy. She don't want your brother car to be seen over there. I said, what? I said, man, she tried to holler at me. She was at my mama's house, tried to holler at me. I said, when I see my brother, I'm going to tell my brother. So I'm like, what? So days go by, and my brother's home, and I goes over there, and I said, hey, man, I heard you got with so-and-so. Yeah. I said, man, she's still married to her best friend. I don't care. I'll kick him in his A. He say something to me. I went over there and tore it up. I said, she tried to give me some, all I want is some coochie. That's it. That's all I want. I said, oh, man, what? The reason why she was home, because our homeboy jumped on her. He caught her messing around and blacked her eye. So he ended up sending her home because they were going to kick him out the military. So he ended up sending her home. That was the reason why she was home, because he found out that she was messing around on him. Okay. To this day, my middle brother ended up staying with her. He married her. He got a son by her. His son is in the military right now. Here's the kicker. This young lady has shredded him to pieces. Almost killed him 3 times. Her and her sister jumped on him and stabbed him. She stabbed him, ran over him, made him lose his job, put him in jail. They've been together for like 25 years. But I'm crazy. That's my point, people. But I'm crazy. Here's the kicker on this here young man that came home, he came home to divorce her and got out the military. And I'm just trying to show you people the conditions of this family right now. They're still married. My brother and this lady still married. And she has had many affairs on him. He claimed he can't get the divorce from her. But I'm crazy. Come to find out, this best friend that got out the military, it's been said that on his mother's side, they have a niece. And I've seen her. She's very beautiful. Supposedly this best friend that divorced this lady that's with my brother today, raped his own cousin, penetrated her, raped her. Supposedly. Now listen, my brother and this young man, this young man got a daughter by my uncle's daughter, and he's got a daughter by my brother's wife today. She's grown. Okay? She got about 8 kids by, I think, this one guy, or maybe two different guys. 8 kids. Okay? Now watch this. This very guy tried to have sex with his own daughter. My brother know about it. His current wife know about it. Do you see the dysfunction? Do you see the dysfunction starting from our parents? But they say I'm crazy. And to this day, they look at me as thinking that I'm bougie, and that's why I don't come around them, because I like nice things, me and my wife. And we don't want to be doing all that. Listen to me. I skipped one thing. My first wife, remember I told you I got 3 baby mothers. My first wife, we got married and I didn't have no kids by her. This is my youngest daughter, my first wife. I married this young lady. Okay. And I probably was maybe 5, 6 years older than her. All right, now watch this. As we were dating and we got married, I used to take her around the brother that I'm talking about that's married to my best friend's ex-wife. She would always tell me that she want to spice up our bedroom action. I said, what do you mean? And she would always beat around the bush. I said, what do you mean? Am I boring you? Well, no. I just want to spice up our sex life and, venture. So we would party with my brother and his wife, and my brother used to throw me hints and say, hey, your wife and my wife is close. They talk on the phone and everything. I said, what? I said, you're not telling her what I say, or you? Oh, no. He was two-faced. He would go and tell her what I said if I was talking about my wife. So I learned not to talk to her, not to talk to my brother about my wife. So, but we would still hang around them, and my brother would tell me that my wife said that I'm boring with the sex life. And let me show you what she meant. I said, she said I'm boring. Well, why she always want to do it? I'm just letting you know, man. She said, you boring. I did not know that my brother was initiating something. So what they were initiating, my wife spit it out. One night, we was just having pillow talk in the bed. And she said, hey. I said, yeah, what's going on? You know, I talked to your brother's wife. And we was talking and everything. He wanted to know, he said he's okay with it if you okay with it. I said, what's going on? Well, he said that, ask my brother, do y'all want to have an orgy? I said, woman, are you crazy? That's my brother. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, if you can sleep with his wife and, you know, we all swap and get it on. Yeah, and let's spike it up. And I said, hell, listen to me, people. This is when our marriage started deteriorating. And I approached my brother and said, man, what's wrong with you? Well, you got to understand what seed he came from. He's got that evil seed in him. Him and his wife was doing it. She would go pick women out here that she could see that go both ways, and she would let him, they would have threesomes and stuff. And some of my dad's wife nieces told me that they all had a gathering in their apartment, and all of them just had and walk around naked and just sticking each other, just stickity. I said, man, I didn't know you get down like that. Because my middle brother was always like an introvert, quiet, standoffish, and he would be shy to dance. And when he came from the military, he just went, wow. And I said, man, what's wrong with you? I don't get down like that, bro. Man, you boring. So that's pretty much why my first wife, we started getting distance, because she was that girl. And I didn't know that. You got to be careful who you marry. You got to look deep in the roots. You be marrying somebody because they look good, and you think because they don't have no kids, you think you hit the jackpot, but you got to look deep where they came from. And I saw it. And this lady used to be freaky deaky. We would be having sex. She want to stick her hand in the back. I said, don't do that. No, I don't play like that. Ooh, you so boring. You want me to lick you behind? No, you ain't got to lick me. I got to give it to you 100, people. So that's why we end up. I got a daughter by. My daughter can't stand me. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. People today are out there. They out there. And that's why a lot of people end up deleted, because of these here jealousy, emotions, and all this corruption. It's going to be a disaster in that triangle. So it's been 3 years, people, that I've been healing. And that's why I gave my life to Christ. And that's why I give him my undivided attention, because I thank him every day. I said, Lord, thank you for removing me from this family. Listen to me, people. When the Bible says, will you give up a father, a mother, a brother, a sister, children, and wife for me if they're not doing my Father's will? My wife today saw that was the hardest thing to do, even though they called me crazy and jumped on me and used me and degraded me. That was the hardest thing to do, people. Because when your parents build this triangulation, my mother taught us to love each other in the condition that they were doing me. So that's all I knew. I hung around my brothers. We did a lot together. We did family gatherings, family unions. And you in a family union, you're not really looking at the big picture, because they got you lost. They got you embracing darkness, because they embracing my mother's older sister. They all like, you still good. We know you slept with your son, but you still good. And so this is what it says in John 15, that if you belong to the world will love you as its own and treat you with affection. I didn't know these scriptures back then. So if I saw my mother them embracing the aunt and everything, and hey auntie, hey uncle, hey, and hey cuz, what's up cuz? And we all embrace each other. But everybody's gaslighting me. And that'll mess you up. You see, everybody got some flaws, but they embracing them, but then they point at you, and you not living like that. You crazy. You see how I could have been behind bars? And this is the reason why you see people, when you see it on the news ain't going to tell you the real deal. A family member went in the house and took out all the family members. I guarantee you, it's been incidents like what I'm dealing with. You got to come out from among them and be set apart, because it started getting on me, people, to the extreme when I started being successful in my job, and when I bought my home. Nobody said, man, we proud of you. How long you been on that job? Man, we proud of you. Anytime I did something good, if I drove a nice car, they wouldn't say nothing. They would look at me when I bought a Mercedes. I would pull up and they all like, wouldn't say, man, that's a nice car. Wouldn't say, oh boy, you look nice. But the wife today, my wife has seen it. My wife ain't even from the city that I'm from. She said, hey, have you slept with your brother's wife? I said, no. Man, she act like she has. Just flirt with me right in his face. And I told him years ago, she didn't want you. She wanted me. That's when we were young, boy. To this day, she degrades him and have other relationships on him. And he still can't figure it out. So, where I am today, people, you have to say to yourself and realize your worth. My wife say, your brother's a job hopper. And if it wasn't for his wife, he wouldn't have been able to buy that house. My wife today can see it. My ex-wife, the one that wanted to have a menage a trois with them, she even told me, she married a guy after me for 10 years. She found out, she said, such and such. Listen, we used to couldn't stand each other. And she called me and told me she got 2 daughters by him. She told me he was lazy, just like my brother, would jump from job to job, won't keep a job, so she divorced him. And that's what this lady's trying to do to my brother today. She wants to divorce. She's trapped of why he lazy. He don't want to work. This the one that called me crazy. So you know what she looking at? You call your brother crazy, but he stayed on the job for 30 years. You call your brother crazy, but he was driving a Mercedes. You call your brother crazy, he bought a house on his own. He didn't have no woman sign it for his house. God signed it. In the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 15, and I'm going to let you people go. I'm still healing. And I ain't asking for nobody empathy, because the Bible, knowledge is power. Now that I know knowledge, I don't miss none of them. I haven't seen them in 3 years, and I thank God. I don't want to run into none of them. But it says, what harmony can there be between Christ and Satan? Or what does a believer have in common with an unbeliever? What agreement is there between the temple of God and idols? For we are the temple of the living God, just as God said, I will dwell among them and walk among them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. So come out from among come out from among unbelievers and be separate, says the Lord, and do not touch what is unclean. And I will graciously receive you and welcome you with favor. And I will be a father to you, and you will be my sons and daughters, says the Lord Almighty. And that's what I had to do. I have no relationship with my daughters. I have no relationship with my father. I have no relationship with my middle brother. I have no relationship with his kids. I have no relationship with my cousins, my uncles. I don't have no contact, nothing. And I have peace. And I'm out.